When we hear the name Medusa, a very specific, terrifying image comes to mind. A cursed monster lurking in the shadows at the edge of the world. A creature with venomous vipers for hair, whose very gaze could turn a living man into solid stone. This is the Medusa of Hollywood, the ultimate villain for heroes to slay. But what if the monster we love to fear was never meant to be a monster at all? To find the real Medusa, we have to look past the stories of Perseus and look directly at the everyday lives of the ancient Greeks. If you walked through ancient Athens, Medusa's face was everywhere, not as a warning of a monster, but as a powerful ward of protection. This was the Gorgoneion. The Gorgoneion was an apotropaic symbol, magic designed to turn away evil. You wouldn't put the face of a despised monster on the door of your family home. You would put a guardian. Medusa's terrifying visage wasn't meant to scare citizens. It was meant to terrify the things that go bump in the night. Her image was so powerful that it was wielded by the ultimate protectors of the state, the Spartan and Athenian militaries. Imagine standing in a shield wall, looking across the battlefield, and seeing 1,000 Medusas staring back at you. Even the gods themselves relied on her protection. Fastened to the very center of Athena's Aegis, resting over her heart, was the head of Medusa. So, if she was a universal symbol of divine protection, where did the story of the cursed monster come from? We have to go back, before Athens, before the Olympian gods like Zeus and Poseidon even existed, to the time of the Primordials, the ancient, terrifying deities that represented the raw forces of nature. Among these were Phorcys and Ceto, the ancient gods of the hidden dangers of the deep sea. These ancient sea deities gave birth to many monsters and to 3 sisters known as the Gorgons. Stheno, the fierce, Euryale, the far-springing, and Medusa, the guardian. In the oldest Greek traditions, Medusa was never a beautiful mortal cursed by an angry goddess. She was born a Gorgon, a primordial creature of the earth and sea. But there was one crucial difference between Medusa and her 2 fearsome sisters. She was mortal. She was the only one who could die. For centuries, this was the accepted truth. Medusa was a terrifying, protective, mortal sea demon. Until the Roman Empire conquered the world, and a poet named Ovid decided to completely rewrite her history. In his epic poem, Metamorphoses, Ovid stripped away Medusa's ancient, terrifying divinity. He transformed her into a beautiful, innocent human priestess, whose only crime was being too beautiful and drawing the unwanted attention of a powerful god. In Ovid's telling, the sea god Poseidon cornered the mortal priestess within Athena's sacred temple, bringing his violent, storm-bringer wrath into a place of peace. The sacred ground was desecrated, but instead of punishing the powerful god of the sea, Athena directed her furious vengeance entirely onto the mortal victim. She cursed Medusa. Her crowning glory, her beautiful hair, was twisted into a nest of venomous vipers. Her skin turned to impenetrable scales, and her mortal eyes became a weapon of mass destruction. Medusa was banished to the ends of the earth. Anyone she looked at, anyone who looked at her, was instantly turned to solid stone. She was completely isolated, a victim trapped in the body of a monster, surrounded by the statues of those who came to kill her. Ovid's Medusa was a tragedy, but it was this Roman version that stuck, providing the perfect villain for a legendary hero. Enter Perseus, the demigod son of Zeus, tasked with an impossible suicidal mission. A corrupt king demanded he bring back the head of Medusa. It was meant to be a death sentence. But the gods favored Perseus, and they knew he could not defeat the Gorgon alone. Hermes, the messenger god, gave him winged sandals to fly. Hades, god of the underworld, provided the helm of darkness, granting complete invisibility. And Athena gave him a shield of polished bronze, shining like a mirror, the ultimate countermeasure against a monster whose gaze was certain death. Armed with divine technology, Perseus flew to the edge of the world, to the desolate lair of the Gorgons. As he entered the cavern, the air grew freezing cold. The cave was a museum of horrors, a graveyard of heroes frozen forever in their final moments of agony. Perseus knew that if he looked directly at Medusa, even for a fraction of a second, he would join them. He donned the helm of darkness, rendering himself completely invisible, and moved strictly by looking at the reflection in his shield. Deep in the abyss, he found them. Stheno and Euryale, the Immortal sisters, were massive and terrifying, their golden wings folded as they slept. But nestled between them was the mortal sister, Medusa. Her snakes were restless. They hissed softly in the dark, sensing the presence of an intruder. Perseus had to be perfect. One wrong step, one sound to wake the immortals, and he was dead. Guided only by the reflection in the polished bronze, he raised his curved sword. He did not hesitate. With a single, brutal strike, Medusa was decapitated. The mortal Gorgon was dead, but from her severed neck, a bizarre miracle occurred. From the blood of the monster sprang two magnificent creatures of divine origin. The birth of Pegasus and Cryaiar was a blinding display of divine magic, but it came with a terrifying consequence. The brilliant light pierced the darkness of the cavern. The Immortal sisters awoke to find their only mortal sibling murdered in her sleep. They could not see the invisible killer, but they could hear the frantic beating of his winged sandals. The chase that followed was a nightmare of speed and terror. Perseus flew completely blind, terrified to look back, relying solely on the speed granted by Hermes to outrun gods. Perseus managed to lose the grieving sisters in the storm, turning his flight eastward toward the deserts of Libya. But the head of Medusa was so powerful that even in death, her blood continued to alter the natural world. Wherever a drop of her blood touched the barren sand, it instantly spawned life. Terrifying, venomous life. Ancient Greeks believed this was exactly why the Libyan desert was swarming with deadly serpents. It was the residual magic of Medusa's blood. But her blood wasn't only destructive. When Perseus finally landed on the coast to rest, he set the heavy sack down near the water. Her blood seeped into the ocean, touching the soft seaweed. Instantly, the soft plants calcified, turning into vibrant, rigid red coral, the ancient world's explanation for the beauty of the coral reef. Perseus had achieved the impossible, but his journey wasn't over. On his way back to Greece, he came across a kingdom in crisis. The beautiful princess Andromeda had been chained to the rocks, offered as a sacrifice to appease the wrath of Poseidon. Rising from the depths to claim her was the Cetus, a colossal, primordial sea monster, vastly more terrifying than any natural creature. Perseus arrived, but no sword, not even a divine one, could pierce the armored scales of such a behemoth. He needed a weapon of mass destruction. He needed the Gorgon. Perseus squeezed his eyes tightly shut, turned his face away, and pulled Medusa's head from the sack. The monster locked eyes with the severed head, and the magic was absolute. In seconds, the colossal, unstoppable Leviathan was transformed into a massive, lifeless stone island crashing into the sea. Perseus saved the princess and returned to his homeland, only to find that King Polydectes had become a brutal tyrant in his absence. The king laughed when Perseus arrived, mocking him, demanding to see the prize he was certain the boy had died trying to retrieve. Perseus warned those who were innocent to close their eyes, and then he delivered the king's prize. The laughter stopped instantly. The entire court was frozen in time. King Polydectes sat upon his throne, his arrogant smirk permanently etched into solid, cold rock. With his mission complete and his enemies vanquished, Perseus had no more need for a weapon of such apocalyptic power. The severed head was too dangerous for the mortal realm. So, Perseus returned the ultimate protector to the goddess who had guided him. Athena took the Gorgon's head, placing it directly into the center of her legendary shield, the Aegis. Medusa's journey was complete. She had gone from an ancient primordial deity to a tragic cursed monster to a legendary weapon. And finally, she became the ultimate emblem of divine authority. Her image was so synonymous with invincible power that the greatest conquerors in history claimed it as their own. Even as the Greek gods faded and empires fell, the Gorgoneion survived. It was only during the Renaissance that artists became obsessed with Ovid's tragic version, cementing the image of the severed, bloody head into our modern consciousness. But today, Medusa is undergoing another metamorphosis. Modern culture is looking past the monster and seeing the victim who survived. For many, she has reclaimed her ancient role. She is a symbol of righteous anger, a protector of the vulnerable and a guardian against those who would do harm. The real tragedy of Medusa isn't that she was turned into a monster. The tragedy is that for thousands of years, we forgot she was the one protecting us in the dark. Uncover the truth behind the myths. Explore the dark, the ancient, and the unknown with us